Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I'm doing my first weird recommendations video. So I'm thinking that these videos are going to be kind of a fun way to recommend books that have something in common, but that maybe aren't really categorized by normal genres. So if you happen to like the same weirdly specific things as me, then you have a few recommendations. If you've never thought about this category before, but you enjoy one of the books, then you've got a couple other ones to sort of look into. And finally, even if you are completely indifferent to this style of book, all the ones I recommend are still great books, and I think you would still be able to find at least one where the summary appealed to you. So my first weirdly specific topic that I'm going to focus on today is eerie or sinister dream worlds. This is something that I just find really fascinating because it's a specific kind of fantasy, and just the idea of dreams and of traveling places in dreams, or maybe they tell you something, is just really interesting to me. So I tend to enjoy books that include that, so I'm going to recommend a few today. My first recommendation is Sing Sweet Nightingale by Erica Cameron. Now in this book, Mariella pledges her voice to the man literally of her dreams. Every night she dreams and visits him in paradise, and she starts to believe that she could be able to stay there forever if she was only willing to give up enough. On the other hand, we have Hudson, whose deal with one of these dream creatures led to the death of his little brother. In his grief, he destroyed his version of the dream world, and now he sees visions of a girl in terrible danger. As the blurb on the back says, now Hudson is fighting to save Mariella's life while she fights to give it away. And he must find a way to show her Auraine's true intentions before she is lost to paradise forever. So this is a perfect example of the kind of dream world fantasy that I enjoy, because the dream world in this book is such a beautiful place, but throughout the book you sort of start to pick up on underlying clues that hint that it might be more sinister than it appears at first. This book also has a lot of other elements going for it. It's a really powerful description of an abusive relationship that is no less compelling for being framed in a story with magic. Hudson and Mariella's eventual friendship and relationship is so much healthier than a lot of the ones we read about in YA. And finally, one of the most powerful elements of this book for me is the way that you are put so seamlessly into the perspectives of both characters. You are alternately seeing through Hudson and Mariella's eyes, and as you go back and forth, Erica Cameron does a phenomenal job so that you alternately feel the pull of the dream world and that of the real world Mariella is trying to leave behind. And because of this brilliant work with perspective, you experience the horror Mariella feels firsthand when she starts to realize what's really been going on with her life. So this is a great one to sort of get you started with this weird sort of subgenre. It's wonderfully written, the characters are incredible, the plot is fascinating, and it has a perfect feeling of subtle creepiness throughout that I think makes it a really good read for this time of year, or any time when you want just a little bit of spookiness. The next book I have to recommend is sort of a Victorian murder mystery, and that is The Lie Tree by Frances Harding. Our main character, Faith, has a thirst for knowledge and science that is not considered appropriate for young ladies. She's constantly caught between the way things are and the way things should be, in terms of her own independence and decisions. One day she discovers her father's notes on the Lie Tree, a mysterious plant that gives strange and frightening dreams of truth in exchange for feeding it a lie. And we follow her as she becomes caught in mysteries and dangers, both supernatural and ordinary. Now, Frances Harding is one of my favorite authors of all time, and this book is, I think, one of her best, even though I love all of them. Her writing is amazing as usual, and her characters are so fantastically complex and real feeling. Faith is one of my favorite protagonists of all time, and she is so compelling in a way that feels very personal, I think. Sometimes she's strong and sometimes she's terrified. She goes back and forth between being frightening and frightened, and throughout the story she experiences very intense doubts about what she wants to do and what kind of person she is. And rather than making her feel inconsistent or poorly written, all of these flaws make her seem like an incredibly real person, and the mystery itself is also a really fascinating element that is not overshadowed by the book's other merits. And finally, my last recommendation for this video is sort of a science fiction take on this whole concept of dreams or the dream world, and that book is The Homeward Bounders by Diana Wynne Jones. Now, I think this book is one of the ones that benefits from having very little prior knowledge going into it, so I'm going to give a very, very brief summary. Essentially, in this novel, the world is a tabletop game that is being run by players who don't care about their pieces at all. And humanity, of course, is the pieces. Now, I think that one of the main attractions for this book is just the intricacies of the plot and the fascinating concept, but I also have to mention our main character, Jamie, because he's one of my favorite kinds of heroes in that he is completely ordinary in almost every way. He's very reluctant to be put into this position of doing heroic things, but in the end he proves to be amazingly selfless in spite of his many ordinary flaws. You just can't help loving him for it. So again, highly recommend this one without knowing too much about it. If it sounds at all interesting to you, I would just give it a try. It's less than 300 pages and one of my favorite books of the year. Okay, you guys, so that is all of the recommendations I have for the first in my series of just weirdly specific things I like in books and sort of some examples of them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you maybe heard about a couple of books that you hadn't thought of trying yet, but maybe now you're interested in. Let me know what you think of this kind of video, because I have ideas for a few others that I think would be really fun to do, so let me know if that's something you guys would want to see. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!